them kids went undefeated. And I have not grown a hair since then. Somebody told me I look good bald-headed, and I stuck with it. I mean, if it works, it works. And everybody can't wear this, so, don't try to be like me. But it worked out. And so it grew from me coaching one team at the YMCA to me coaching the 5th grade boys, the 6th grade boys, the 5th grade girls. I had 4 teams in one gym because we couldn't get coaches. And some of those kids would lay down on the floor, and I would look at their feet. And they didn't have good shoes on, and that's when it started touching my heart and my soul, that I need to make some changes. And that, from me starting at the YMCA all the way up until, my goodness, 16 years. I started as a volunteer because I was on probation doing community service to being a high school basketball coach. And I did basketball tournaments to raise money for kids who didn't have school supplies. I would run 3-on-3 tournaments. We called the Overcomers 3-on-3 tournament. I would do alumni tournaments, and all this was going on in Miami County. So it was like I became a community activist, but I was just taking all the skills that God had given me to enhance the community, but I really wasn't using it the way he wanted to. And my mom would always tell me, she said, James, God got something for you to do, you just ain't doing it yet. I'm like, Mom, look what I'm doing. I'm helping the community. And she's like, that's not it. And I never understood what she was saying until I went to prison. But one of the situations, I got myself in a situation, and I'm not going to go into detail for the respect of the people who were a part of me going to prison. But while I got this camera, and why everybody's looking at me, because everybody hasn't had a chance to see me or talk to me since I've been home in 2 years. If there's anybody that I have ever offended, I am sorry. I made a lot of mistakes. I hurt a lot of people, not even thinking about the magnitude of the consequences that I did and the things that I have done. There are still people out there hurting. There are still people out there that are upset with me. And I'm making it publicly known on television that I am sorry. And, I can't go back and change it. All I can do is move forward and do the best that I can with what God has given me. But I ended up doing 9 years in prison. 5 of those years cost me a situation at the school, and the other 4 years cost me a situation at home. So I did 9 years. And I fought my case, and I fought my case, and I wanted to come home, and I kept wanting to come home. And just didn't seem like it was working. Now, for 18 months, I went hard at it, and I was miserable. I mean, to be 40 years old, to have established yourself in the community and have 7 beautiful children, a wonderful family, and to have it all snatched away just like that. It's because I felt like I was entitled, because I had done, we get, those of us in positions of leadership, and I'm just saying us, I'm not saying everybody. When we get in these positions and we feel like we're untouchable, we feel like we've reached beyond, but we forgot where we come from. God is the one that put us in those positions. And I'm saying I statements, I felt entitled. Well, I did this and I did that, so I felt like I was above and beyond anybody's law. I felt like I was above and beyond anybody, and because I was right, even if a person was right, I could find a way to make them look wrong. So I just, when I went to prison, that was the hardest thing in my time of my life. And that ride from Miami County to Orient in no shackles, shackled to another person, was devastating. I really realized I'm on my way to prison. Even after I was in prison 5 years, I'm like, I'm in prison. It just wouldn't set right with me. And when I got to Madison, I went to in a back row, and I began to pray. And I'm like, God, what are you doing with me? What is going on? I didn't understand what was going on. Nothing. You ever pray to God and you just don't hear nothing? and you don't understand what's going on and why it's going on? Nothing. And I fought and I fought and I fought. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere came the Horizon Prison Initiative. It's a program, it's a residential prison, interfaith inside the prison. And I joined this, one of my fellow inmates said, come on, Clay, let's join this thing. And I joined this thing, and I met some awesome volunteers, some awesome people, and it changed my life. I realized I had an opportunity to help. So since I've been home, I've been in St. Clair, Wright State, in churches, in Columbus, in Dayton, Cincinnati, telling my story and telling people that people who have went to prison, everybody's not bad. Most people have made mistakes, and people come home and they need support. We need loved ones. We need systems and organizations that will help us be and do the things that we need to do. And I'm an advocate, a living advocate for people who have made mistakes. We're not monsters. We're not monsters. Open your hearts. Open your doors, and family members, accept your family members back home. I know they probably ran over you 1,000 times, but God says, how many times should we forgive? But just be wise in how you deal. I thank God for this opportunity. There's so much more that I could say and so much more that I could share. Healing communities, all in communities, Welcome Home for Life Network. I'm at Grace United Methodist Church, Hope Letters, working with my brother, Minister Leroy Purdy on the band, being able to manage that band, being able to coach, being able to train, just to help people. I just want everybody to know that I was something else, but now I'm something else.
Amen, amen. Oh, wow, what a great story. And truthfully, it is a lot more that you can say. I'm going to have to bring you back. I think I'm going to have to give you an hour show. Because I know in your heart you got a lot to say. And everything that you were saying, it touched my soul. And I hope that it touched someone's soul out there in TV land. Minister Clay, thank you. Thank you for accepting my offer to come on the show. But like I said, I'm going to have to bring you back.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'll let you know when, but we're going to bring you back. So God bless you. Keep up the good work, and let God use you in every way that he can. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
We're getting ready to take a TV break, and we'll be back with Pastor Greer and his guest, Mr. Harris, right after these messages.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late, we stay informed, we invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Well, welcome back to You Don't Know My Story. I am Pastor Greer. I'm the co-host here with Elder Jackson. And I have this young man with me today, Mr. Harris. And while I have him here, I'm going to tell you something special about this young man. This young man is a graduate of Dayton Public School, 1961. Upon graduation, little did people know that looking at this young man, he could not read or write. But his dream was to become a police officer or an attorney, but that was in question. People always assumed the worst about Mr. Harris. They said he was lazy, and some even said he was stupid. But how wrong those people were. And little did they know that Mr. Harris, he was battling some demons that he could not even see. An undiagnosed learning disability. See, his battle and his victory is a tale of a continuous heroism. Upon realizing he was not dumb or even stupid, he was told these crazy things. But let me show you some of the things that he accomplished. You know what? 40 years at General Motors, retiree. He's a national speaker, a former motivative speaker, a former member of the National Speakers Association. And Mr. Harris, see, he was one of 19 speakers to receive this GSI Speakers Award. He's a member of Judge Capizzi's Juvenile Court, the court that reclaims future program. He's the founder of Dare to Be Great, middle school age program that they use for at-risk children. In 1997, a proclamation was issued by Joanne Davison. You know, she's at the House of Representatives in Columbus for outstanding achievements in the community and his service. Then after that, the Montgomery County Courts of Common Pleas issued a certificate of appreciation for Mr. Harris, his involvement in the Mondane Correction Institute program. Sinclair College, they recognized Mr. Harris on Handicap Outreach Day, where Mr. Harris produced a play and he used the Department of Disabled Students as his cast. The Department of Youth Services, located in Columbus, Ohio, see, they recognized Mr. Harris. He put together an entitlement of misconceived of society and proved to be one of the highest rated sessions that was ever offered. See, what he did with this program, he trained staff and teachers and administrators and students. Listen to this. Mr. Harris has received the top African American male award, top 10 at that, the U92 Black Achievers Award, the Bronze Helping Hand Award, the Dayton Community Service Award. And let me tell you something that's special about Mr. Harris. They even flew Mr. Harris out to Seattle, Washington to be the keynote speaker for a conference highlighting and entitling Society of the Disabled for Dyslexia. The most current project that he's dealing with today is the Majestic Gentleman #2. This right here is a mature, all-male modeling troupe where they go out and they do fashion shows. And I'm gonna tell you how great these guys are. They give the proceeds to the community and out to charities. You know what? I've already talked too much. I've said too much because the name of this show is You Don't Know My Story. Mr. Harris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pastor Greer. Appreciate the time that you're taking out to have me to come in this afternoon to speak on dyslexia. Dyslexia is a learning disability. It's in layman's terms, it's just where you see words backwards.
Amen.
I'm not going to try to get into the details. If you want to know more about the details, you can give you my website at the end of the show. But I just want to share with society that what we deal with on an everyday basis. I mean, this is being dyslexic is like an alcoholic.
Amen.
An alcoholic cannot take a drink of liquor
Amen.
and then be okay. I'm going to always have my problems. So I'll start like the night of my graduation in 1961. You said your father. I just found out that I know your dad.
Yes, sir.
We graduated in 1961. He was at one school and I was at another school.
Yes, sir.
But we all ran in the same circle, so I knew him. But nobody knew. Nobody at that school knew the problem I was dealing with. And the night of my graduation, it was at NCR auditorium, that on Main Street. And everybody was contemplating on what they was going to do. Some of the guys was going off to the service. Some of the guys were getting married. Some of them was going to trade school. Some of them was going to college. And with Dennis, what you going to do? I said, I haven't decided yet. Because I know the only thing on my diploma that I could read was my name. And so I'd already decided what I was going to do. And during the graduation, the school board had sent somebody down there, this man. I can't think of his name, but those of you that graduated in '61 can remember him because he was the only black man on the school board at the time. And he said, these children has completed these children has completed their requirements for graduation. And I'm sitting there saying, what about me? Don't I count? How am I going to pursue my dreams? How am I going to be successful in life? If I can't read and I can't write, then there's no place for me. So they gave me my diploma because I didn't earn it. They gave it to me. And I went home where everybody else was going to parties and having a good time. I went home and sat down on the side of my bed and contemplated suicide. I had my father's .38 pistol. I didn't want him to be right, because all I ever heard out of him was how dumb I was, how stupid I was, and how I was never going to amount to anything. And I didn't want him to be right, because I knew I didn't have the tools to be successful with. I didn't have the tools to survive. So if I was going to become homeless, and like he said, I was going to be, so suicide was my way to stop it. The pain was that great at 19. The pain was that great. But I wanted to write a note to let my mother know what had got me to that point. But if I can't spell, I can't leave no suicide note. I couldn't go ask your father to write me a note.
Amen.
So, you know how mothers do. We prayed, and for the next 2 years, I hung around with the. At that time, they called them hobos. Now they call them homeless people.
Yes, sir.
For the next 2 years, I hung around with the hobos down on the river, downtown, and we'd hop a train, go places. So they taught me how to survive. They taught me how to take care of myself. They taught me how to fight. They taught me how to eat from garbage cans. They taught me how to what to bundle up with plastic bags in the wintertime to keep my feet warm, keep my body warm, cardboard and stuff. They taught me those things. But I'd always go home in the daytime, at night, but in the daytime, I'd go down to the riverbank and hang out with the hobos so I could learn how to survive. Because if you can't read and write, what place do you have in society? If you tell somebody